going on, everybody? Got a little update video here. Been having so much fun with the Capra four-wheel steer here lately that decided to step up my Capra game. More specifically, my four-wheel steer Capra game. So I guess first off we'll start with the original here. So the red was too much for me. The red cage, the red panels, the red plastics, everything was red, and that's just not me. So it's not the prettiest, but it's a good 10-footer for sure. So I made my own panels just out of some sheet aluminum. I even wrapped them around the back of the cab a little bit to kind of box it in. The panels turned out pretty good. I'm not hating on those, but so far as the cage goes, it probably won't last that long on here, but it's just some of the rub and buff, I believe is what it's called. I don't even know how to describe it. It comes out of the tube as a liquid and then kind of turns into a waxy kind of consistency and just kind of coats everything. I think that if I tore the cage completely down and went over everything and really rubbed it in there good, and then just went to town with some clear coat or something, it might stay better. But I just got tired of the red, so this is what I came up with. I think the fuel tank looks a lot better, and I didn't hit the whole thing. The little boat sides would have gotten scratched up like crazy, so I didn't really hit them. And then the inside of the cage where you're never really gonna see, I didn't touch any of that. But aside from that, nothing else has changed on there. This thing, I literally just drove like 4 hours to get this one this morning. I ended up trading the Rift for it. So let's see if I can remember everything here. It's got a Mamba X and a 2280 kV, I believe, or a 2080. I don't know, one of them. Either way, it's got a Castle system in it with a Mamba X. It's got some Desert Lizard shocks set up in droop configuration. The Proline Baja Pro X tires. I've had the RC four-wheel drive Baja Pro X's, and these feel a lot better, but I think that they're G8 compound. The guy never told me, and they've been used enough to where the dots are wore off of them, but just from the feel of them, I'm thinking that they're the G8. And those are wrapped around some Trio bead locks. It's got just a couple Traxxas servos on it. It's got a little bit of brass on all four corners. Definitely got the bigger outer portal covers on the front, but they're still smaller than what I got on there. And then on the rear, it looks like they are literally just the stock like size outer portal covers, but they're brass. I believe those are all Racing, just from what little bit of the logo I could see on them. There's that other Traxxas servo. The only thing that I have done to this is I put a XT60 plug on the ESC. It had a Dean's plug on it, and I don't run Dean's, so I soldered that on there, and then I hooked up the B-link and went through and programmed it just like I program all my other Castle stuff. The guy had mentioned he was getting kind of frustrated with this system. It kept getting really hot on him. After digging through the programming, it had the timing was set way high on it, so I put that all back to where I run everything and put my throttle curve and everything in it. So we're gonna give it its first test run up here in the pit and see how it does. Probably won't run that one near as much. Mainly doing a video on this new one that I just picked up, but I figured I'd bring the OG along just because it's had some cosmetic changes done to it. So maybe we'll do a little bit of a comparison, but it's been raining out here the last couple days, so everything's soaking wet, and I'm sure it's going to get pretty muddy up there on the side of the hill, so we'll see what happens here. The suspension is completely different between the two of them, and the wheelbase is a good bit different as well. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how they compare. Even though they're the same thing, they are completely different in how they're set up and what components they have. So yeah, we'll give them a run around the pit and see what the new guys got. Okay, so right before I start driving here, in all fairness, I've got the new one, running on the old Dumbo RC transmitter, and I've got it set up on the opposite knob of what I usually run on my Fly Sky, and it's also steering the opposite direction of what I've got it set up on my Fly Sky. I've got no way to reverse the steering on this one, so it's a little unnatural feeling, so it may take a little bit to get used to how this thing steers. It's going to be completely opposite of what I've been used to running. Also, it does have metal drive shafts as well. It's got a Vader skid and a 3-gear trans. I'm not sure why I kind of got off topic, but I think that's all it's got. And since it's a Castle, it's going to have some Castle whine to it. Man, this is going to be weird steering the opposite way. But so it's going to be a little bit noisier than my other one, but ooh, I got hung up on the tire there. I'm dragging the old one along with me. These Mickey Thompson tires, they feel like they've still got the factory foams in them. They're definitely single stage foams, so this thing doesn't weigh a whole lot, but I'm sure it's gonna still probably roll over on side hills a little bit. Oh, this steering is really jacking me up. And it's not the front axle that's got me backwards, it's just the rear axle. Got real good drag brake, so that's good. I'm gonna definitely have to get this thing on a fly sky receiver, just so I can have the steering set up the way that I'm used to. Otherwise, if I drive this one for a little bit and get used to this steering, it's gonna be a whole new learning experience when I go back to driving my old one. I'm thinking probably what's going to happen is I'm going to be doing some swapping things around. I'll probably end up kind of Frankensteining this Capra here, my Capra build, and my base camp. Basically, I want to build a wrecker, like a scale body, but still capable wrecker with like a winch boom or boom winch, a couple other winches on it. That's gonna be my my project to get done for Axial Fest for next year. I just want to build a pretty sweet wrecker, and I'm thinking that between the base camp and this thing and the Capra, I should be able to still come out with I'll still have the Capra, but it's probably going to end up with these axles on it, and then the base camp is going to end up with the Capra axles, just because they're a little bit lower quality Chinese metal axles, and just for a trail vehicle I think it'll be just fine. And then this way I'll have my four-wheel steer Capra that's been doing really well, and the Capra is very capable with a drag axle, so if I make that into a four-wheel steer rig, that should take it up to a whole nother level as well. And then I may, just depending on how that first section of projects goes, I may end up putting the base camp axles under this cage here, just to have another trail vehicle. So this is going to be interesting. This thing is a lot more narrow than my other Capra, and it's wet, and I'm unfamiliar with these tires or this suspension, so I don't really have high hopes for this thing conquering hardline today. This backwards rear steer is really screwing me up. Literally every single time I go to turn that axle, it's, well, backwards. Suppose I could turn the camera a little bit here. Oh. Probably wasn't the best spot to stop and adjust the camera. Something else I've noticed is the rear axle is clocked really oddly. So I think I'm gonna have to mess around with either some different rod ends or some different links altogether if I decide to run this thing any more than just a couple times. I believe that the guy said that he put Traxxas rod ends on the axle side, but didn't on the skid side, so I'm not sure what else he messed with as far as link geometry goes. There we go. Okay, we're gonna move the camera up here. It is really wet out here, but these tires are not wanting to grab at all. I really don't think I'm going to be able to get up over this log here. That's a bad spot. That's a real bad spot. We're just gonna take the ugly way around this log. I can tell you right now, just from what I'm seeing so far, there is no way this thing's gonna make the top of hard line. This is probably gonna be a ugly, horrible attempt, but I've gotta try. This is totally unfair to this rig and these tires and every other component in here. But this is horrible. These shocks are not set up to be doing vertical climbs like this. These tires are not biting, even though they've got single stage foams. Already got tires off the ground. Yep. Okay. Well, I'm not going to make y'all watch me battle with this for ever and a half, so I'll turn the camera back on after I finally give up on this climb. Okay, I finally gave up on hardline. I tried that for almost 10 minutes. Definitely not happening. We'll hit something a little bit easier here and see what it can do. Still don't have high hopes. This thing is obviously set up to be run on the beans. Let's see here. Oh, this backwards steering, I cannot get used to it. Yeah, these tires, it's not going to happen today. Ooh. I don't know if y'all caught that on the edge of the camera over here, but I just had a chipmunk go in the hole right next to me. I don't know if I can catch him here. He's got his head out. Hopefully that was within frame. I feel like he's over here laughing at me. Okay, this is not working. Well, I may have been a little bit overzealous wanting to come out here and try this today, being that it's super wet and muddy, but you know, it's a new truck. I had to try. So I guess just for schlitz and giggles, I'll get my old Capra out and we'll give that a run on the ruptures, and if that doesn't do worth nothing, then we'll give this thing a break. Time to swap them out. Okay, now I gotta get back in the habit of trying to turn the normal way. Shouldn't be too hard. I will say I'm not normally one for really shiny things, but I think this thing looks pretty good from a little distance. Got a little bit of drift on this one here. It's got the hobby wing system in it. Oh yeah, it's still got a good drag brake. Ooh, don't get me wrong, but it's not holding quite as good as the Castle does, that's for sure. This one sure is a lot quieter though. This will be the first time that I've run the ruptures in wet conditions as well, so these are still on the single stage foams. I did end up getting part of what I need to build my dual stage foams today, but the second part that I need, they sent me the wrong stuff, so might take a little longer to get that figured out than what I had planned on. Hung up on that rear diff right there. Hey now, that was on me. Now I'm in a real messed up spot. Let's get out of that and get back over here. Okay, I just went right back to the same spot where I was getting messed up on the last one. So something else that's a little bit different here, when I went to paint the cage, I took my bungee cord limiting strap out of here, so I think that's why my front end is lifting a lot more than what it normally does. I just now remembered that I never put that bungee back in there, and that thing helps out tremendously. So regardless of tire performance, that could be our downfall today. So I don't have my suspension set up like I normally do. Ooh. Come on, just bite. There we go. That is not the normal line I take to get up there, but take what I can get. We'll see if they can pull over the log here. Yeah. Oh. I still got it. Let's see. Just do that until I get up on top of the rocks here. Make sure we get the tires real good and coated with mud before we get up to the hard section. Okay. So I highly doubt that it's going to pull this. One, because it's wet and the tires are muddy, but also that front end likes to drop out really hard without that bungee cord. And I don't believe that I made it until I put that bungee in here. So we'll see what happens. Ooh, all the way down the hill. Man, not even close. Oh, took my eyes and my finger off the throw. I went to reposition myself. Apparently that was bad timing. God, that tire is caked in mud. Well, I don't think that this is happening today either, so bad news for this thing, good news for the other Capra. Oh, I got my first dent. Trail damage is real. I almost had it. Today I'll keep this one a little bit shorter than normal. We'll just finish off with the same thing I did with the other one. Call it a day. But even though it is really wet and nasty out here and I don't have my suspension set up like I normally do, this Capra is obviously still doing way better than the new one with its current configuration, but I have no doubt that that will change. This one here has made some very tremendous improvements since I started tinkering with it, so I can do the same with that one as well. I think I'll take these back down to the garage and let them dry out, and I think I'll start making the next video, which will be the ESC that I got from Mr. Grumpy Pants out west. See if I can't get that thing to work. We'll get some answers one way or another. Either it was set up wrong and works just fine, or it's just a bunk ESC. But that'll be the next video. I'll go ahead and get started on that after I get this one put up, and one way or another should be pretty interesting. But we'll call it a day for the Capra twins here. They are multiplying, and I am not mad about it at all. So we'll get back out here on a drier day, and we'll get these both set up better and give them a real run for their money. I'm really wanting to test out the ruptures with a dual stage foam up against my crawlers with my dual stage foam set up, and it doesn't get much more of an even test than two of the same rigs running at the same time. So stay tuned for that one as well. But hope you all enjoyed this muddy catastrophe here, and have a good one. Catch y'all on the next one. Later.